viral video to scale on TikTok. That's the thing that really has blown my mind in the last 6 months, is that we can just do it with ads. We can do it with an ROI target, and we can manage our cost per acquisition. And it's got a little feel of Google Ads. It's got a little feel of Amazon. And that gives me a lot of optimism, because I'm not a gambling man. I don't want to go to Vegas with my last $1,000 and put it in the slot machines. I'd rather have a little bit more of a scalable ROI. And we're seeing that now. All right, welcome to episode 6412 of the Selling on Amazon podcast. By far, most popular podcast featuring Michael, Eric, and Ian. How does it feel to be number one, guys?
I definitely feel great being number one in the entire world. I've known a lot of people that were number ones, but they were not really number ones.
Exactly.
Actual number one.
Joe Rogan's got nothing on this podcast.
Nothing. He's a small timer. He's still working on it, He'll get there one day.
Random facts. I just want to give a shout out to Zevia. I will manage your brand for free drinks at a discount on TikTok and Amazon, because your product is just that good. It is just that good.
All right, hashtag Zevia offer.
Shout out to Hydro Flask for keeping my electrolytes cold in the wintertime.
Oh, that's great. I like that. In the wintertime. That's good. And what are you drinking there, Eric? You got like some blue fizz that you bought at 7-Eleven down the street? What is that?
No, this is the Zevia. So Zevia is amazing, but Zevia on ice is sublime.
Wow. It's
what you have to try is the Poppy cream soda, and then do a little taste test with the Zevia cream soda or the creamy root beer, whatever. Just do the cream soda Zevia and then try the Poppy cream soda. It is like, holy shit, sublime.
All right, we got,
and only 5 grams of sugar.
Is Poppy have sugar, or is it
it's natural sugar? Yeah. I forgot what it's sweetened with, but it's a natural. It's only got 5 grams. It also has some fiber and probiotics in it. So it's a probiotic soda.
Okay. This one has 0 sugar, 0 calories, but I still feel like Zevia still spikes sugar index to some extent, because I am freaking addicted. So I know it definitely does something.
It spikes your insulin, because your body, your taste buds are connected to insulin making, like your pancreas or insulin making system. So whenever you drink Zevia, your body thinks it's about to have sugar, so it starts making insulin. And then that's what causes problems.
I am literally the reason why the Publix in Palm Harbor never runs out. I go in there by 5 cases at a time.
and they just keep restocking. They're like, man, this thing is going good. Wow, let's keep restocking. So speaking of never running out, it seems like new TikTok accounts coming in never seems to run out. Over here at Bullseye, just for people's edification, behind the curtain, behind the scenes, I think we signed up 13 new clients last month, and 12 of them were TikTok. So what gives? What's going on there?
I think it's funny that all of these, and I keep hearing this, like a lot of people, TikTok was huge. I went to all these webinars. I went to all these seminars. I went to all these in-person live events on TikTok, even a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. And everyone was like, jump on TikTok. But I think it's like the actual decision lag of so many companies. It's like 2 years, because all of this hype was 2 years ago. And then now these companies are going, I heard all this good stuff about TikTok. I think I should probably go on TikTok, because 2 years ago it was really popular. Now is about my time. I wanted to see if it would work for everybody.
I could see that. One thing that I would add to that is that the stories are still true, and people are still having successes as of like this week. And I think that I think there's only so many times a brand can hear something before they're like, I feel like I must be missing out. And I think that's essentially what you're talking about, the lag.
Yeah, and I think it's just a matter of the business is owned by a person, and the person has their lag onto a marketplace, right? Some really good CEOs, really good entrepreneurs, they're fast. So income is proportional to the speed at which you can operate. And if you're fast, like if you see a new thing popping up and you're jumping on it and you're really quick to market, then you're going to make income, right? Companies, what happens though is a lot of CEOs, a lot of founders, they get really cozy. They get really comfortable, and they're doing their 5 million a year or 10 million a year. And then guess what? The market pivoted, and they took years to decide to pivot. And then last minute they decide to, but they're like the last person, all their competitors are already on that platform. and then the last. And that's the danger in a comfortable founder or comfortable CEO, is that don't ever get comfortable. Like, you don't sit in your lazy boy and just have like, I did it. That is the most dangerous. I've been there myself, or, hey, I had a 20 million year at Amazon. So, that actually was 24 million. So it's like, get comfortable or be happy. But no, I really, really quickly, it dropped out, right? Because I didn't do the next thing. It dropped out to 12 million because I didn't do that next platform, that next thing, the next whatever, right? So, and that's a crucial lesson, is you always got to be alert, and you always got to be willing to fight and go to the next platform.
I agree. I would also suggest that, I mean, I think you should always take the meetings. You should always at least tour the platform, and you might necessarily have to be the first one on the platform, but you should definitely at least look at their business model and see if it works for you. Because there's a lot of ones that are actually just quite simple. So for example, just to segue a little bit, Flipped, for example, like we did an onboarding with them, and I was quite impressed. And their business model is very interesting. And I don't know if you've been on the platform, but they have it so that if you go onto the platform as a user and you scroll, you actually get paid money, which you can use as a discount off of a sale on that platform. And so that's a pretty cool business model. And so from the brand perspective, what do you have to do? Well, they charge 25%. They handle the advertising. They handle the affiliates. All you have to do is put in your information and then say how many products or how many units of each product are you willing to give out to affiliates. So they do all of the work for 25%, which you can then run through something like ShipStation, which just goes through your already existing workflow from Shopify. And it's just another channel where you're getting visibility and traction. And so I think that sometimes when you look at something like the amount of time that it took to set it up and get it going, it wasn't actually that much. And I think that you should always check out new platforms, because it's a lot of new to brand, new visibility. And sometimes they're incredibly easy. You just never know.
Well, I think it's been an opportunity for us as an agency, because if it was really easy in a way, I don't think we would have as many people banging on our door. The fact that we figured it out and 99% of the Amazon sellers have not figured it out is, I got to say, my capitalistic mind is grinning with opportunity. But what's even better is the fact that we've actually figured out a way to scale. And we keep talking about this every episode, and I just can't stop harping on it, that viral video to scale on TikTok. That's the thing that really has blown my mind in the last 6 months, is that we can just do it with ads. We can do it with an ROI target, and we can manage our cost per acquisition. And it's got a little feel of Google Ads. It's got a little feel of Amazon. And that gives me a lot of optimism, because I don't like I'm not a gambling man. I don't want to go to Vegas with my last $1,000 and put it in the slot machines. I'd rather have a little bit more of a scalable ROI. And we're seeing that now.
But I mean, in Vegas's defense, I put $1,000 in the slot machines, and I won $1,200 the last time I was in Vegas. So
fine, fair enough.
In all fairness, I was standing right next to you and put my money in the same machine, and I did not walk away with any money.
It was what was that? It was like a Frankenstein machine that we were playing. Yeah.
I think slot machine guys tried to hit the most cold machines. I think that's what they usually try to do, because a cold machine means it's going to hit soon. So it looks like Michael got the hit, Eric got the cold.
Well, I think Eric played my machine that just hit.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
But then I went to a different machine that someone got up and was playing at it for a while. They didn't win anything. They walked away. So I went to their machine, and I won on that one too.
I actually don't think it's the machine. I think it's the person. So like, some people go to Vegas and they win. Some people go and lose. They literally sat at the machine for 3 hours, and then they step up and the next one's a jackpot winner, or they go to some random, like you were just on a roll. Like, you were just hot. And so
I won right before that. I won $800 in roulette.
Exactly.
My birthday number randomly.
Yeah.
It was just a good night.
It was,
Yeah.
But there was other people there that were sitting there at the ATM going, "This sucks."
Yeah, I know. Always. But anyway, back to TikTok. Well, so with TikTok, it's like, stick with the subject, fellas. Stick with the subject. It's funny that it very similar. I always use the analogy of Vegas with TikTok, just because it's so applicable. The difference is, if you had 100 slot machines and you put $1 in each one of them, statistically, one of them could hit something, right? And you don't need to hit a jackpot. You just need to hit some kind of win, right? Or if you play 100 holes on the lever, right? TikTok is like that, where you don't need a jackpot. You don't need any of that stuff. You just need one of the creator videos to be of good quality, and then you can advertise it. And that's why people are like, it is a roulette table of which creator is going to make a video that is potentially good for advertising that you could do GMV max ads on. And but the thing is, it's controllable. Therefore, the risk is very low. You can go to a creator and give them briefs and go from a general direction and go, hey, this product seems to be doing really well with start your day with, or daily routine or nighttime routine, or whatever it is, get dressed with me, or get ready with me, whatever, right? So all these trending hashtags, and you can pre-vet the market a little bit, take all the risk out and give the creators, hey, these are the things that are working right now. And these are some good examples, but in the end, you can do whatever you want, still give them the freedom. What I've seen a lot of sellers do is they shotgun it without any specific direction to not take the risk out of the equation, right? So if you don't remove the risk first, the risk is if you're going to send 1,000 units to a bunch of random creators that don't really align with your brand, they have crappy content, don't send them good briefs, you don't do your market research beforehand because you're too busy doing other stuff in your company, then yeah, you're going to get a bunch of shit at the end, but very few of them are actually going to be advertising.
I want to show you guys something. This update that you've been telling me about, a quick Google search pretty much does confirm, Michael, what you've been saying about the 1,000 follower update. And this isn't official TikTok, but this is Google's AI follower requirements. It says here, yes, according to TikTok, current TikTok guidelines, to access the TikTok Shop feature and start selling products directly on the platform, you typically need around 1,000 followers on your brand page, which allows you to set up a shop on your profile and link products with your videos to make sales.
Can you click the link?
Yeah, click the link to follower requirement. The second link, not the first one, not that one. The second link right there. Yeah, follower requirement. It's going to probably take you to TikTok TOS.
It doesn't really take me there. Let me see. Let's see. How many followers do you need to sell your own? Oh, this is 4 days ago. This is TikTok's official.
No, it's a topic.
Oh, yeah.
Not TOS.
So it's an interesting, a lot of people, like the branded account on TikTok makes up maybe less than 1% of the sales and is truly underwhelming. However, it is important that it is connected to the shop for visibility. And I've had some experience connecting ones with less than 20 followers. So it definitely is something we need to go down the rabbit hole with and see further. Maybe it's something from January. Maybe there's some factor like that, but it's definitely something need to look into a little deeper.
But again, that's another barrier to entry, right? We have barrier to entry, 1,000 followers. Barrier to entry must be a US company. Barrier to entry, right? Must have fulfillment. Barrier to entry, all these things where when you sign up for Amazon, you don't have any of those problems. You don't have a follower problem. You don't have a fulfillment problem. You don't have, you could be anywhere in the world and sell on Amazon. So TikTok kind of is getting a little bureaucratic, a little red tapey. Again, as an agency, I feel like it's an opportunity because we can offer services to help people get over the hump.
One thing I do like about it is that my background in web design actually has a little bit of usability in this because there's a lot of little hacks and tricks that require Shopify and connections and just general computer intelligence that Amazon just doesn't necessarily have. It's a lot more simplified. Most of the intelligence is focused on metrics and advertising. And so I kind of like it. I think it's good, but it is a pain in the ass and a lot of people struggle.
It's true.
There's just so many little details in TikTok that, like, I guess, Amazon and other e-commerce and Shopify included has all those little details. But like, I was talking to Ian about this earlier today. It's just the devil's in the details, these little details, these little boxes they have to check off, these little documents have to be uploaded in the exact right way to get a shop set up.
And the right
and then sometimes like you upload a document and it's not scanned correctly. It's not, the format is exactly right. And TikTok rejects it. You're like, you have to get it exactly the right way. And you're doing all these little tiny things that each one of the things can make or break your entire company. And so it almost takes like, it's an exact science. It's become just like in engineering to build the San Francisco Bridge. Like you have to have a very technical engineer that knows exactly the mathematical equations to put the struts up and the steel cables and like every one of the support things and the weight is evenly distributed. And the engineer can calculate all that. And e-commerce is not, didn't start off that way, but it's become that way with complexity to where you have to have someone who's done it, not just once, but a multitude of times. And that's why like people that if you try to hire in-house, and this is the problem with hiring in-house, like how are you going to find a guy that has done TikTok multiple times successfully as an employee, right?
I mean, I don't know where you'd find them. Maybe a really good virtual assistant overseas who's worked for an agency is probably closer going to get.
But yeah, but for sure. And I've hired those guys. It took me months to find them too. Like you occasionally.
Yeah. There's not very many of them. It's the, and there's probably 100 people claiming that they're good at TikTok Shop, and maybe 1 out of 100 that's actually good. I'm sure there's plenty of people overseas who would love to get an $800 or $1,000 a month paycheck for kind of pretending to be an exemplary TikTok Shop manager and not really having the capabilities.
I've encountered more of those people than I have actual good TikTok people. The thing is, you have to remember that in TikTok also it's segmented. So like everyone likes to be a specialist. So in order to like build out an in-house TikTok team over the last year, one person's really good at GMV Max and Spark ads. Another person's really good at building the SEO listings on TikTok. Another person's really good at creator reach out. And like, they're all like, well, I don't know how to do that guy's job, but I don't do this job. And you're like, but it's a whole division of your company. And you have all these specialists, and each one of the people maybe are good, but then they still need to be overseen because maybe they don't quite know your strategy or so this is the whole point of trying to bring it in-house. You see the headache you're going to run into as a company, right? And that's why people like us exist. We figure out all of those things that we've done it 30, 40, 50 times already. And so for us, it's like, if your account gets rejected or disapproved or whatever, it's like, yeah, that was like, it's a Tuesday. We get it back up in a day or two.
Yeah. One thing that I would say, and I think Elon Musk said it the best, is it says it takes 2 things. It takes caring and competence. And so I train people and establish teams constantly. And I tell them, I said, I can teach you how to do it. I can't teach you to care. So it's either in your personality or it's not. And that's whether you're going to make it or not, because the details you have to, if you care about the account, you will look at the details. If you don't, you won't. And that's literally what it comes down to, is caring. And I think that that's what separates us from a lot of other people, is that we care about the account and we care about the outcome because we're invested in the brand's growth as the agency model, with where we do a percentage of growth, and it's kind of, we invest in their growth. And so if we lose, then, and they lose, then it's a loss for both of us. So it's important that we care. And that's what separates us from a $800 VA that's going to say a lot of things like, sorry, my fault, won't happen again.
Sorry, my fault. Won't happen again.
Yeah, I was like, that was yesterday. What about today? I need something different.
Yeah, and I think it's also any good person that you hire that's overseeing an area. One of the key points is having the ability to observe. Like to really look at what's going on. We have a lot of, you hire an overseas employee, or you hire just even a regular American employee for $30 an hour. You used to be able to get it for $20 an hour, but now it's all 30, right? So that, and even them, it's just their inability to observe the situation or take responsibility for other parts outside their zone. It's a rare find. And if you have a person who's financially invested in your account to make it happen, then yeah, but how are you going to find that? Like if you're paying someone hourly or salary, it's tough to get the real motivation out of that person. And that's the big catch-22, unless you're going to pay them a commission. Like a salesperson is a great example of a person who they're going to work their ass off to get the sale, and they're going to look for other things outside their zone of comfort to make sure they get their commission, right? So but salespeople are hard to find. They're a very rare breed. And in TikTok, it's the same way. Like you have to do certain actions, look at certain details, and care, like Aaron said, really get in there. And then that's what, in the end, what makes a TikTok function is it's very sensitive to anything you do wrong. Like any little detail you miss out can be the make break of no money or $1 million in sales.
Absolutely. Just to add one thing, caring is not, it is across the globe. So there's people in every part of the world that care, and there's ones that don't. It happens in America all the time. And you can see it when you go into a store and they just have this vibe, like, it's not my problem. Like they just don't care. It's important, but you meet people all over the world. There's good people and there's bad people, but our job is to look in the details, and we know what you're trying to accomplish. And our job is to help you accomplish it in the fastest route possible. I always tell people that it's our job to make recommendations. It's your job to make decisions, but our job is to make sure that you don't necessarily make bad decisions based on bad data. My job is to give you all the data so that you can make good decisions and we can get there as quickly as possible.
Exactly. Very well articulated statement.
Yeah. So now that TikTok's downloadable on the shop, on the App Store, that's a good sign, right?
Yeah. And if you guys want to talk about what's going to happen with TikTok, I mean, you have done a lot of deep dives into this even recently, because I'm all over TikTok all the time on political TikTok and regarding TikTok, political TikTok on TikTok. But obviously, TikTok is very much wrapped up in politics right now. So here's essentially what happened, and here's what's going on. TikTok, the original story is Congress basically imposed a law saying, the Chinese company, I think everyone knows the law that passed. The problem was there's two crucial flaws in the law that was passed, which is the fact that the purpose of the law being passed was because of sharing data with China and the Chinese government of American citizens and so on and so forth. There was no evidence or real proof of that occurring at all. I've done deep dives. There was no real evidence of any data being shared with China, but the Congress and the lobbyists decided to, go for that particular law being passed. So, it did pass. Now, then what happened is, as they went to, begin enforcing the law, and the deadline was January 19th, and then Trump took office on the 20th, and they got taken down from the App Store, and TikTok's message, everyone saw that. So Trump delayed it, and he said because the executive branch of the government has to enforce and give orders, and they can kind of control the law enforcing side of government, right? So he basically said, hey, we're not going to enforce this law that was passed. You got out there, Apple Store, Google Store, none of you guys have any penalties at all for keeping TikTok on your store. TikTok's not going to have any fines or penalties. We're not going to enforce this law. And so basically it's a BS law. So we'll try to work with whatever. And then now the hope that TikTok will be around forever is that, if they could do that now, when will somebody say that this law needs to be enforced? Well, there's also tons of laws that are not actively enforced, by the way, tons of laws. So you could go on technically for a delay of infinity, and with the actual judicial side or the, Justice Department not actually enforcing the law forever. They're saying basically this is an arbitrary law. We're not going to enforce it. So, and they just keep imposing delays on the enforcement, The enforcement could go on. We're going to delay the enforcement of that law for another 9 months. We'll do it. We're working on a deal right now. We'll do it for another 9. And then it's a year, and then it's 5, and then all that really happens after all that time is that TikTok will be banned from the App Store, but everyone still has it. So it's there's no real reason why TikTok would ever go away. And the only reason is if it did get banned from the App Store and they couldn't update it, and then they would have about a year left. So that's my deep dive on it. In a nutshell, there's much more details than that, but that's what I think is going to continue to happen for, time infinitum.
Yeah. I mean, it's kicking the can down the road forever. It's basically what you're saying.
Right.
I do have an update for it. Here, let me share the update though. While you were talking, I decided to do a little bit of research just to see if there was any updates. And I found this article, which I thought would be interesting because it kind of sends your point home, essentially, which were the kicking the can, so to speak. And so
there you go. It's an extension of TikTok forever.
So the U.S. base, it was supposed to, the date that it was extended to was April 5th. Trump hints at an extension, and it says he spoke with porters March 6th, yesterday, and he says that he would extend the deadline if for some reason they do not find a U.S.-based buyer, if the deal is not met. So yeah, exactly. This is we're not going anywhere. We're here to stay. And honestly, can you imagine the amount of taxes the U.S. would lose by getting it just doesn't make sense for the economy and for the taxes. This is going to be here for forever, in my opinion.
Yeah, and so the whole point of this is it's very hard to undo a law that is just passed by Congress, because you have all these members of Congress that have to majority agree to the law being undone. That's very difficult to accomplish. Historically, it's very few times. That's why so many laws, by the way, have not been deleted. But even back to the 1800s, there's still laws that are active laws in the book for different states that are still active. They've never been dismissed because you can't really undo laws, but you cannot enforce them, right? So a lot of laws that we have are just not generally enforced. So if a law is passed, then the justice is defeat. If they're ordered not to enforce it, you're good to go. You're good to go forever. You can do whatever you want.
I was watching a video on YouTube. There was an exit by I believe it was Genius Mushrooms. I think they did like a multi 8-figure exit, and the founder was on there talking about the next gold rush, and he explicitly said TikTok is the next gold rush. And I think that video, if you get the chance, you should look it up. And I found it to be very interesting. And he was talking about how they use strategies to, for example, what's that guy that was the most Googled man on the planet for a while? And I think he might still be to some extent, the guy from Romania,
Andrew Tate.
Andrew Tate. And so he used a strategy where he paid people to essentially create content. So he had thousands of accounts creating content. And that's what it's all about, is about mass content for brands. And that's what TikTok brings to the world. It's creating a media for your brand where you can get thousands of people consistently talking about your brand, which has never been able to be done in history. And if you haven't seen the video, it was very informative. And I think that it's the Gold Rush. Look up Genius Mushrooms founder, modern day Gold Rush TikTok. I think it was a good video.
Well, I'm obviously excited about it. It's our clients are excited about it. I don't think we're going to recognize TikTok in a year from now. What do you guys think about this Meta 2.0 hustle that's kind of going around where, it's supposedly Mark Zuckerberg's working on a Meta version of a TikTok Shop. Have you guys heard anything about that?
I have not.
I have a little bit because it's on TikTok. I've heard about it from TikTok.
Let me see if I can pull up something here. Let's see if we can get something going here. Meta.
I will say one of the worst things that you can do is if you are completely dedicated to the brands that you work with and you start doing searches like for the conditions or things that they solve, your feed might be a bunch of people with some funky diseases consistently. So it's a wild place. And I think the algorithm does move fast. One of the brands that we work with, it does stuff for steroid withdrawal cream, withdrawals, which essentially they take steroids to help with eczema. And they take it beyond the amount of time you're supposed to take steroids, and it creates an unfortunate thing. If you've never seen it, it's definitely something you don't want to see, but my feed is full of it now. Be careful what you search for.
Well, right now I'm searching on this Meta thing and I'm not seeing anything. I'm just hearing little whispers, but I'm not seeing any specific news.
Well, the news originally was Meta was capitalizing on the whole TikTok down thing. And then Zuckerberg was talking about the replacement and building a replacement for it within the Meta products, right? So including the shop aspect of it. So he probably, I guess being smart, if he does build that, if he does try to build a replacement for TikTok, if let's say TikTok ever does go down, he wins, but that's if it ever happens. So, and then by doing that, he's basically admitting defeats. The problem with Meta is that he's admitting defeat, saying TikTok did better than I did, right? As a Meta company, that's the problem. It's like he's trying to be the copycat. He's going to be the copycat. He's no longer getting copied. He is the copy. So, and that's downgrading Meta products to whatever degree. Like, I want to try to copy this other guy that actually did better than I did.
But did it do better though? I mean, if you talk about how many people are on Facebook and like how big the influence is, like it's like 50% of the planet. And I don't know. I think that they're different, but I do think that the influence of Facebook can't be misjudged because it is still an incredibly powerful platform.
That's which is true. It's not that it did it better necessarily because of the income wise of Meta and all that stuff. Some people are still on it and all the ads. But what's going to happen is, I think Zuckerberg and everybody sees this, is that the Gen Z and, whatever you call it, hello Gen Z, I forgot the young people, they're not going on to Facebook. I mean, they are going on to Instagram for sure, but Instagram is, I foresee Instagram, having its runway, but they're definitely going to TikTok. So, and then that just means, but hey, yeah, you got 20 years still with Meta products, because it's going to take 20 years for all those Facebook users to clear out and become TikTok users. Facebook has to, at some point, innovate and change things and appeal to the new younger demographics, which they bought Instagram for $1 billion originally years and years ago to do that. And then Instagram became the old thing compared to TikTok.
Yeah, and check it out. look at this. So the black is male female, black is male, and then dark blue is female. But what's interesting is look at the 55 and up. 55 and up is 8.4 if you put them together. The 45 to 54 age group is just shy of 10% of TikTok, and the 35 to 44 age group is about 16% of TikTok. So if you want to know how many people are over the age of 35 getting into the millennial age, you just add 17% here, 10% here, 27 plus another, let's say 9. You have about 37%, 36% of the entire platform is now over the age of 35. That's 1/3. That's incredible.
Yeah.
TikTok is aging, guys. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, it was just dance videos with 15-year-olds on it. It's aging.
And I think it's a threat to meta products. That's what I'm saying. It's a threat. It's threatening their future.
Yeah, the thing I was going to add was that I think it's important to know your customer. So like when you go on Facebook, like, and you post something, the first person to respond is usually your grandma or your uncle. It's typically the older generation is just completely all over Facebook. Now, I'm 44, and I typically like the Instagram reels, but there is statistics, and you should, and by knowing your demographics, you will know where you need to advertise, and you'll know how you need to advertise. But I think it is important to know that. But I think that it's not going to become a place of where you need to do something. I think it's becoming a situation where it's becoming more expensive, and it's the barrier to enter is increasing every day. And I think you actually need to consistently do all platforms, to be honest, to actually survive in this day and age. I think you need to have a presence across the board. I just think that right now the growth on TikTok is exponential because of the fees, because of the users coming on, and the acceptance. I think that it's just hot right now. But Meta was hot for a while. Like that was the hottest thing for at least, I don't know, 5-10 years. So yeah, I think every platform has its day.
Well, now it has its day. All right, guys. Well, obviously, anyone listening and you're not on TikTok Shop, or you think your products aren't a good fit, or you think your products are for an older demographic, whatever, I think you might want to look on TikTok Shop, go on your phone and look at similar products to yours and see how well they're selling. And I think you might be surprised that they're selling pretty well. So that's a little bit of advice for you. Eric, Michael, have a great weekend. And I'm going to do some fishing on Sunday. I'm excited. I got the popper corks put on. I'm going to catch some big trout. That's what I'm doing this weekend. I hope you guys have a good weekend.
Yeah, man. Have fun fishing. I'll be moving into my new house this weekend. And the in-laws are...
Wow. It sounds like you have a fantastic weekend ahead of you.
Oh.
And what about you, Eric? What do you got going on?
I'm going to play a pool tournament, and that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Good. I love it. Well, I hope you win.
Yep.
And can I bet on you or no?
Not yet, but when you're in Vegas, you can bet on anything. But at the Hard Rock, you don't get those kind of odds.
Oh, darn. Okay. Well, let me know when I can start betting, because I'll make sure to bet on the other guy.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, guys. Have a good one. Over and out.